Hi, everybody. Welcome to another live streaming broadcast of Conversations That Matter Most. I'm Sharona, and I am here with my co host and partner, Claudette. Say hello, Claudette.
Hi everyone, Claudette here. And yes, my banner isn't working today. Technology, that's how it is. But I am Claudette. I'm known as a stepmom coach, and I'm really happy to be here. Hi.
Yes, Claudette, just because you don't have a little name tag, we know who you are. Oh, so I want to welcome all our viewers, newcomers, long timers, and those in between. But my name is Sharona. I am known as the MidLife Women Dancing with Change Specialist. And today we're going to be discussing, talking, speaking about change. It's an inevitable journey, and it's not a destination. And for those who are new or just need a reboot or whatever, I'm going. Let me. We're let.
Your tongue twisted today.
My mouth is going faster than my hands and my head, so I got to bring it down a little bit. Bring it down a couple notches. So the reason that Claudette and I started this a while back, we realized that a lot of times as we're working with, as Claudette was working with her stepmom, and I'm working with midlife women, that a lot of times there's not deep conversations about topics that matter most. We have a tendency as people to like skim over the surface of things. So Claudette and I decided that we would like to just share our thoughts and information about topics that matter most to us and to stepmoms and midlife women, and frankly, any other human being on the planet. So, um, we like to, so this is what I like to call these stepping stones to leap into your life, to have these conversations. And we have a lot previous topics, including procrastination, anger. So go check out our menu and pick and choose. And also, we like to hear from you. You know, your thoughts, what this brought up. Again, this is not about if you agree or disagree with what's going on. It's about how are you going to use this in your life as we go forward. Claudette, did you want to add anything to that?
No, and I think part of what, and I think you brought it up, like it's just a question of, having these conversations as a jumpstart to having your own conversations with people at home. I actually know a few people who are listening to our broadcast, and it's inspired them to, have those conversations within their own family, or at least think about, well, how do I think about this? Is that something I would do or not do?
Hmm.
So, for those who are there, hi, I'm glad you're here again. But it's to help you think about these conversations in a deeper way. So yeah, that's basically. I know you said that, but just wanted to add that.
Yes, that's okay. You can add anything you want. This is a recipe. We just add things as we go. And we're live and we don't have a script. So there you go. It's all real right here, right now. So we're going to talk about change. And I have been a change agent, specialist, catalyst for most of my life. I have been working within the realm of change and the emotional impact of change. And I find that we know change is constant. It's been said, change is one of the constants that we have in our life. And yet, for many of us, we find that change can be scary, it can be frustrating, and it can be sometimes even unwanted. And so today we want to delve a little deeper into how do we deal with change? How do we manage change? And why does change sometimes scare us? Um, so, uh, so one of the things I realized is that change for many of the women I work with is that we try to be logical and we try to be linear with
Mm,
change. And change is neither of those.
yeah.
Right, Claudette? I find that change is sometimes spirally or cyclical. What do you say? Cyclic?
Cyclical.
Yes. Circular. Or,
Yeah.
actually, if you're going to do the dance of change, it will look like this.
And I like what you said about, change isn't necessarily a logical thing or linear. And, I think that what happens is that change, sometimes we have no control over change, right? It happens to us, and it's a matter of how we react to that change that's happening. Um, like just something very basic, uh, the weather, the change of seasons. Like there's nothing we can do about it except just like go through it. And like the seasons of change in the weather outside, our bodies go through seasons of change, and families go through seasons of change. Relationship go through seasons of change. And I think it's to learn how to react and maneuver and, as Sharona says, dance through those changes that we get to appreciate, learn, and grow from those changes.
Yeah, and I like that. I like the seasons of change within ourselves, within our families, within communities, within groups. And one of the things is even if so here's something that I've learned over time, that there are stages, not steps, but there's stages to change. And the first thing that happens when we go, so what they are is, first thing, the change occurs, whatever it happens, either externally or internally, something happens. So there's that. Then there is that moment where we're shocked or in denial that I can't believe this is happening. We go into that. Then we go into a little bit of we might go a little bit into anger. We might go into a little bit of sadness. We might do a little bargaining. We might do a little temper tantrum. And then slowly we go through something where we call accepting. This is what it is at this moment. Now, change, no matter perceived or conceived positive or negative or neutral, is really very much like grief. We grieve when we go through any change, because we're letting go of something that happened before. We're in a place of chaos, mess, and then we go into what happens later. That's why I always like that metaphor of butterfly. So as the caterpillar grows, and all it knows is being caterpillar, it goes into its chrysalis, its cocoon, and then it morphs into a butterfly. Well, here's the thing. On a scientific level, if you really look at it, when you open up the chrysalis in the middle of that,
But you just killed the butterfly.
yeah, you don't want to do that. But if you did and you open it up, because scientists have, inside, it's a messy goo.
It's a mush. It's a pile of mush, right?
Right. And what has happened is the DNA is breaking down and reconfiguring into a butterfly. So change, that's why we like to use butterflies as a metaphor of change, because in the middle, it's a gooey mess.
Yeah, and I love that part because, you know, and I think both of you and I, you know, we use that metaphor a lot, where, you know, when we look at our life and there's major changes, we, you know, falling into a puddle, you know, like that, those metaphors, like emotionally we're falling into a puddle. Those are major changes, and they see that a lot in step families where like there's like a breakdown in what they thought, breakdown of expectations of what they thought it was supposed to look like. Everything's broken down. So now it's time to rebuild it, right? So taking that metaphor of the caterpillar, the gooey mass, and then the butterfly. So the caterpillar is all nice and comfy, going along, chomping at leaves, as we're doing in life, and all of a sudden you know, go into this puddle of goo, which is, and a lot of times it's that chaos. Unrealized expectation that were probably unrealistic to start with, and or people are not coming and playing in your garden the way you want them to come and play, and then you get upset at them. And I love that you share like the stages of, you know, it occurs, and then you go into denial, and then you get angry, and then all of a sudden you accept. And the acceptance part is the butterfly, because it frees you into accepting the change so that you can be something more bigger than you were before.
And different. I think that's the thing, is there's a core of who you're going to always be. And I think a lot of times when we go through big changes, where our self-esteem and our self-confidence gets shaken up. But if we look down deep within that gooey mess, it's the same, what's the word? It's the same DNA. It's just reconfiguring into another way of being as we move forward. And here's the thing is, you know, with those stages and the gooey mess, you're not again, it's not a linear thing. So you might go at one point, you accept the change, and then all of a sudden you're back at anger, or all of a sudden you're back at depression or sadness. I'm going to use the word sadness because depression has another connotation. But, you know, you're at that place of the, you know, oh, I can't do this anymore. So, you know, as I work with a couple of midlife women, one of the things that they've been dealing with is, you know, they've been doing work for so many years in a certain field, and either the company goes away or their job goes away, and they're standing there in the gooey mess of, now what? Who am I? What do I want to do? And so there are ways that we can work with the step families and the, you know, midlife women who are going through this change, how to have things prepared or tools that we can pull out so that way we can continue moving forward with the change. So one thing is, sometimes we need to re-examine. I think you were talking about this, Claudette, about unrealistic expectations.
Yeah,
Right, that this shouldn't be happening. I'm
exactly.
playing by the rules. I've done everything I'm supposed to. Why is this happening? You know, this is unfair. I don't like this. You know, that whole thing. So when you get to that point, there are some ways we can work through that. Does that?
Yeah, and I love what you said. You know, a lot of times people will say, this is so unfair. Really? Like, I don't think life is meant for us to always be fair. I think we learn who we really are deep down inside when we're challenged.
Mm-hmm.
When we're not, because I see change as challenges and stretching out to be more than what we think we are. Because when we're too comfortable in our life, you know, it's nice to be comfortable, but is that truly who all your potential? And so a lot of times, a lot of stepmoms are struggling with that change, the change within a step family. And there's a lot of changes, and I'm sure you'll be able to share some changes within midlife women, Sharona. But when we're talking about change within the step family, times it's external. It's not even because of you. You have an ex-wife who decides to file for custody change, or file for more money, or file for whatever. Or the stepkids decide, I have enough of this, I'm not living here anymore. Or, you want to have like a more fulfilling life. Maybe you decided you want to go back to work after being home with your stepkids. You decide, okay, now I want to go back to work. But how am I doing? So there's a lot of changes, but a lot of those sometimes are not because you want them. They sort of like you were talking about external changes. And, I see those moments as being able to go deep inside yourself, go in and grab that fiber, that mush we were talking. So it gives you time to reconnect and really look down, deep down, in who are you really, or how are you actually made out of, and show your strengths. Often I'll hear stories of people who've gone through horrible experiences and coming out stronger than they ever thought they could be. They never realized how much they could overcome certain events in their lives. And so change could be seen as a gift rather than something to be feared. So Sharona, talk a little bit about, the midlife women who are going into change, and some examples of, what it is, what it's like for midlife women to go through change.
So thanks, Claudette. And one of the things as I go into that, I want to talk about change takes time. And a lot of times we try to force change to happen, or to become the butterfly quicker than time that we give it. So time is our friend when it comes to change. As you were talking about, when we need to sit in the mess and goo to understand what we're going to pull for us as we go into the next stage of our life. So as midlife women, it could be a big change is all the children left. And now what? What am I supposed to do now? It could be, as we said, that there is, and yes, there is for many midlife women, we are going through that thing called, pause. Actually, I'm just going to call it women on pause. Let's just do that. We just got to press the pause button and just be on pause. And then regroup. So it could be, again, the job market changed. It could be health issues. I know a few people who are going through some really big health issues, and how to, I cannot be how I was. I'm not sure how I'm going to be, but I need to take this time to heal. Go through some healing. It could be the relationship. Either the marriage ended, or you're starting dating again, or something's going on and you're going, well, this is not what I thought. Oh, technology. For a lot of midlife women, technology is moving faster than, some of us still don't know what Snapchat is, and we don't want to, every time I see a picture on Snapchat, I go, oh, okay, that's just too much. I don't need that. So with that, so one of the things we can do is, as we're going through whatever change we're going through, be it, and some midlife women might be becoming stepmoms.
Yep, definitely.
And so we gotta, so how do we maneuver through this? So first of all, honor where you are, I think, is the big key thing. Am I feeling depressed? Am I feeling anger? Am I having a temper tantrum, which is perfectly kosher? We get to do that. Am I in denial? Where am I in the state? Where am I in the muck? What do I want to bring forward? Change is the time to let go of what doesn't work for us anymore and pull in, pull up, pull through what we want to bring forward as we move forward into the next stage. What do you think about
Yeah,
that, Claudette?
yeah, and you shared some really good points, and whatever happens, we're all gonna go through some stages, and so like for some moms, definitely they'll go into a midlife change. I mean, we're all we're all going to go through some changes, and I think it's important to understand that change doesn't have to be bad, right? Change can actually be good. Like for me, when I became a single parent to my son, I thought that was terrible. No one's going to want to have a single mom. Like I'm just going to live my life as a single mom. But then, so I got that part. Okay, I started to accept it. And so as soon as I started to accept it, then I met my husband. And so there was a lot of changes there. And so we went through the ups and downs. And so once we started to accept that we have stepkids at home, then they started to leave. They started to go to college. And then, so, there's always going to be some changes. Now they're married, we have grandkids. Our grandkids are growing up faster than we can see. So there's always changes. But I think as we're growing older, the changes that are happening in our life, we're sort of like rolling with the punches, as we say. One of the changes we've been through in the last several years is job loss. My husband lost his job after working in an industry for 30 some years. And that was really difficult. And so my husband was sort of like in a position of, no, that's okay. That's okay. He wasn't letting himself go through the emotions. He was in denial, and then wasn't willing to accept some of my help. And then all of a sudden, when he did find his job, he looked back at what he had done in the past 6 months and realized, like, whoa, no, I could have done things differently or a little bit better. So when we face a potential job loss again, because now he's a contractor, it was a lot easier for us to go through that change again, because it wasn't our first time. We sort of had practice. And this time we allowed ourselves some of the emotions to go ebb and flow, but they were shorter this time. The process wasn't as long. So I think that's something to remember, is that if you go through change period, the stages or the phases in change, they vary in length. But if you allow yourself to go through the various stages, I think it shortens the process to get to acceptance.
Excuse me. Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's, again, every change has its time frame, and to honor that, going through the emotional, components of it, you know basically there's only, what I say, only four emotions. Some people say there's more, but it's really mad, glad, sad, and fear. So allowing those emotions to be part of the change, honoring them, expressing them, sharing them, saying, you know what, I'm really feeling frustrated right now, which is a form of anger, right? and a little bit of sadness in there. So giving all, giving ourselves permission. I think that's what I think we need to do, is give ourselves permission to be a human being who's dealing with change, big or small. And here's the other thing. Change doesn't come gift wrapped really nicely one at a time. We are going through many little changes all the time. That's why sometimes it feels like we got so many things juggling around. So find the time to get quiet and ask yourself, again, what am I feeling? What am I experiencing? What do I need to get support as I go through this? One of the things is, as a midlife woman myself, I remember the first time I had that bout with a 3 a.m. insomnia, and now, I'm just going to be honest. That still happens. It doesn't happen as much, but I had to go through a long period of time. I think it was a couple of years to get to the point of accepting this is my sleep pattern now. I was fighting it. I was fighting that. And I was so angry that I didn't sleep the way I used to, hit the pillow, slept through the night. Now it's hit the pillow, fall asleep, 3 a.m., wide awake. And of course, I listened to everybody, try this, try that. And I realized, no, you know what I need to do is lay there and meditate. Just that works for me. I don't get up and do something else because that just makes me wired. But again, I had to go through that whole process. And I couldn't force to accept it. I had to process all those emotions around why can't I sleep? Now it's like, okay, up again. What do you want to do now? So as midlife women, we do have to deal with the body changes, our emotional changes, our external changes. That's why it's more of a transformation, like a butterfly, than it is just a change. So anyway, and here's the other thing is again, for midlife women, sometimes we think we're all alone in this. I don't know, maybe for stepmoms too, and we have an image of how we are supposed to be at a certain point in our life. And we need to let go of that, but we're not having a struggle with that. So you might want to find either wisdom group or a support group, or work with a specialist, either or a coach like Claudette, or whatever you need, so that way you don't have to do this alone.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right, Sharona. A lot of times I think people see themselves as going through this all by themselves. And the truth is, you're not alone. Other people are going through this. And one of the great benefits of today's technology is that you can reach out to other people and create some wisdom circles, and just have people within your area or dealing with similar issues you're dealing with come together and have conversations. Talk about it in a way that you feel, one, that you're validated in what's going through you. So you don't feel like you're this weird person, that you're the only one going through these issues. And then create a group or a support system where you feel secure. There's a sense of confidentiality, of support, of non-judgment. Make sure that there's like guidelines and understanding. Okay, I want you to just listen to me. I don't want you to be giving me advice. And that happens a lot, right? In relationships where maybe you have someone who's telling you what to do, but may have no idea of what it is to be in your shoes. So sometimes you have to create those boundaries and say, hey, listen, I appreciate your comments. I just want you to listen. So, create those guidelines for what it is you want from this other person, from this wisdom circle. And then finally, just allow yourself to be helped, right? You
Mm.
don't have to be super person all the time. Be vulnerable enough to say, you know what? I think I need help. And I just need someone there to listen to me, to give me a hug, to, take me out for coffee, whatever that is you need. Allow that other person to give you the gift of helping you. Because when you allow another person to help you, you're actually creating some space for that other person to help you. So it's a gift that you're allowing them to give you. And then, understand that, it's a process, right? And it's inevitable. Change is going to happen. There's some big changes, there's some small changes, and some big changes. But as you maneuver through those changes, understand that it's a phase and you'll move through it and you'll get to the other end as a butterfly.
Yes, and it's I like your what you said about the guidelines, and one of the things that I like to say is when you ask someone for support or you ask for someone for help, not unsolicited advice, but just to listen. It's a gift, and it's also being of service. You're reaching out to somebody, and I don't know about you, Claudette, but I know when someone asks me for help, I feel honored that they're trusting me to support them into whatever they're doing. And I think, having someone who or a group of people just listen and not give advice, but just supportive yays or nays changes it it actually provides service for everybody in that circle,
Mm-hmm.
because they get to hear your story, and then they're going to hear themselves in our stories. So as we tell our stories, everybody else, oh, that's just like me, they're telling my story. It might not be exactly the same, but we're all human, and we come together that way.
Yeah.
So if there's a mom out there who just needs some extra support, Claudette, and just wants to have someone listen to them and help them dance through this change of being a stepmom or whatever, how they can contact you.
Thanks, Sharona. So if you're a stepmom and you're struggling with some of the changes that are going on with your life, whether it's changes with custody or changes with your stepkids or changes within your relationship with your spouse, your partner, reach out to me and go to Claudette at stepmomcoach.com. You can also go to my website, which is stepmomcoach.com. And an easy way to find me, just do hashtag stepmomcoach, and that'll be also bring you to my various social media, which is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus, Pinterest. So, but do hashtag stepmomcoach, and it'll bring you to the various pages that I have. So, Sharona, what if I'm a midlife woman and I'm going through these midlife crisis or changes, and I'm looking for support, someone who understands what I'm going through? So how can they reach you?
Thanks, Claudette. So you can reach me. And again, if you're a stepmom, I'm not a well, maybe you are a stepmom and a midlife woman.
And then a midlife woman,
woman, stepmom. Or you're just a midlife woman and you're thinking, maybe there's a change in your job status. Maybe it's a change in your relationship. Maybe it's a change in your health. Maybe it's a change that you're just going, what? I don't want to do this anymore. Whatever that is, and you just want extra support, or you need someone as your faithful sidekick as you go through this journey of change, you can reach me at Sharona at dancingwithchange2thrive.com, which is also my website, dancingwithchange2thrive.com. You can find me on Google Plus and on Facebook, Midlife Women Dancing with Change. And at Twitter is hashtag, let me know. No, I'm not going to hashtag it. It's Dancing with Change. And at LinkedIn, it's Consult Sharona. So either way, you can find me. I'm there. And also, after, please listen, viewers, to, or, share with this if you think this is useful. Listen to it again. There's some good tips in here. Also, subscribe so that way you know what's coming up on our next episode. And comment below just what you thought, what came up for you. What are some things that you're dealing with, or how, better yet, how you got through some change, what tips or techniques that you used to get through some major changes or minor changes in your life that might be good information to share with the community.
Yeah, I love that. Sharing what you did to get you through some of the changes. And again, we have a lot of different topics on our channel. So feel free to peruse the different channels. And, when you're listening, take a pen and paper and take notes. And it'll help you to solidify and deepen the learning and the tips that we've shared with you today.
Thank you, Claudette. So I want to thank our viewers once again for joining us here on Conversations That Matter Most. I want to thank everybody, and I, of course, want to thank my partner and co-host, Claudette.
Thank you, Sharona. I enjoy doing this with you.
Ditto, my friend, ditto. So everybody, have a good rest of the day, good rest of the week. We'll see you next time here on Conversations That Matter Most. Bye for now.
Bye.